drinking is over, but that contest continues. Now you can get extra prizes, extra gifts, and extra rewards from Allah. Yeah. The new contest is just read the translation. That's right. Just open up this translation we already sent to you, find the same verses you already recited, and then read it in English. Record it, upload it to your account on Recite on TV. And we're coming to you almost live from right here in our studios in Southern California. Yeah. MashaAllah ta'ala, we're happy to tell you that a lot of folks are joining us right now. Let's bring them in right now. Let's talk to our guests. We have, first of all, we have Dr. Adel. He just now joined us all the way from Tampa, Florida. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. How are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you? How are you, Dr. Sultan?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It's great to have you guys with us tonight. I'm very happy about that. MashaAllah. And I just want to show somebody was talking about this Aurora Borealis. This is what's behind me right now, if you guys are looking at it. Yeah, that's called Aurora Borealis, something that happens only in the very northern part of the world, and we'll be talking about some of that in our upcoming programs, especially the one on magic. But right now, we have to get back to our studios here. Assalamu alaikum. And let's bring in Dr. Sultan first of all, because I wanted to ask him what's going on there in his area. He is in Missouri. Assalamu alaikum, doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think we're turning around the corner, things are getting less, and things are getting better in Missouri overall. So I have hope. Let's see what brings up next month or November or December. But so far we are doing better than what we did before.
All right. Well, that's a good report. And let's find out what's going on in Florida, doctor.
I think overall it's stabilizing nationwide. What it used to be a very resurgent, that's reflected by number of admissions, ICU admissions, intubations, number of mortality. But I think the infection rate still continues to rise, and the global, or the total number nationwide still needs to, alarmingly, we're heading to 200,000, 200,000 American death. So, and this is before the second surge, if you would, that expected in the fall, as we approach into October, November, December, up till February. This will be peak months where the regular flu will overlap with coronavirus and maybe other viruses like syncytial virus and so on. So I tell everybody the only answer is strengthening your immune system. Keep it strong.
All right. Well, in addition to the strengthening the immune system, what would you advise?
Proper nutrition, proper rest, meditation. Mental health is huge right now because in some cases it's worse than the disease itself, than the coronavirus itself. And, positive, stick around with positive people and positive thinking, because that will definitely enhance your immune system. And then, of course, the supplements that we have discussed many times, the black seed, lemon, ginger, honey. Now we have also the Costas, which is very, very good, and it helps also.
You said Costas? I don't know what that is.
We discussed it before. It's mentioned in Hadith by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Costas is the flower that you could either use as a vapor, volatile oil, or you could use it topically with ingested by mouth, or you could use it on skin lesions. Costus, C-O-S-T-U-S. We discussed that before in Hadith 5762, I think, Bukhari, and it helps the immune system, and it helps to calm people down during anxiety. And then recently, I also found za'afaran, which is Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam describes as the flooring of paradise, turab al-Jannah. So saffron is a very important in terms of nutritional value and in terms of also helping calm an anxiety attacks. So that's another natural element that flower that could be used by so many to help them.
Yeah. Would you recommend the black seed and the saffron at the same time? Is that okay?
Yes, both of them have no interaction and no side effects. So they can take it even if there's somebody's taking a regular medication for whatever condition, high blood pressure or diabetes or cholesterol or whatever, then they can take it with no problem in terms of having any side effects or contraindication. Black seed is kind of contraindicated if women are pregnant or suspected to be pregnant, but otherwise it should be good and safe. And even after baby delivery, it helps to increase milk secretion for the baby if they're nursing after.
Oh, seriously, I didn't realize that the black seed had some restrictions for the pregnant woman and also afterwards for the baby. That I didn't realize that.
They have an active substance called prostaglandins, which can theoretically induce contractions of the smooth muscle cell of the uterus of the mom, and that could lead to theoretically miscarriage. They're very rare reported cases, but for the most part, it's safe. Once the pregnancy is positive, then you stop it till after delivery. But after delivery, it helps to basically increase the milk secretions to help nursing the child, and also helps to with the contractions at the time to help clean up all the residual blood from the after delivering the baby. So it helps both ways after delivery.
That is good to know. Dr. Sultan, I wanted to ask you something about your practice there. What's going on there now as far as St. Louis? No, you're in St. Joe.
No, St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, yeah, okay. In St. Louis, what's your practice? Are you seeing a lot of the patients getting the treatment for the virus, or what's going on?
No, we've been talking about building up immunity and building up immunity. That is a really practical application in our practice, because I hardly have seen any sick people in my practice, because our patients have built up immunity by taking care of their environmental things, nutrition, and taking care of endocrine problem, thyroid, and so on and so forth. So the immune system is built up quite a bit. That for a long time, I have not seen acute illnesses in my practice, like acute pneumonia, acute sinus. Sometimes do sinus infection, but by and large, the medical practices are full of upper respiratory infection, lower bronchial infection, other infections. We see very little of that, and so I've not seen a case of coronavirus in my practice actively. I mean, a couple of people had it. They went to their local physician to do it, because my practice is a specialty practice. But it's amazing that my patients don't have a problem with the infections.
So what you're saying to us right now, that is the putting into practice what you're advising your patients, and also what Dr. Adil is telling us for all of us, is to build the immune system. Now, what about the ways that Dr. Adil was talking about? Do you 100% agree with that, or would you like to add something to that? What about what does Islam teach us for that?
Well, I'm talking from the scientific point of view. He's talking about from the religious point of view. Both of things are valid. I don't disagree with anything what he said, but there are a lot more can be added to. One of the things that I always emphasize upon building the immunity is no magic. There are three simple words: clean air, clean food, and clean water. If you provided all these things, most people's immune system will get better. And then you can add nutrition, and you can add hormonal issues that as people age, they may have problem with low thyroid, which predisposes to infection. You take care of the thyroid problem, then the infections rate becomes far less. When you take care of nutritional issues like magnesium deficiency, which involve 700 enzyme system in the body. So just taking one mineral can strengthen your immune system in so many different ways that it is not possible by any other way of doing it. So taking care of all these things, we seldom see acute infections in our practice. If they're so minor that which is not life-threatening, which is not any way seriously debilitating. Maybe sometimes people get sick for a fever a few days. They get okay. You see.
All right. What about you mentioned something about the religious side? What do you recommend for Muslims or anybody who would like to know what some of the cures of perhaps the Quran? Is the Quran something that we should be focusing on during this time?
Well, that's a very good point. I have not brought religion into the practice of medicine. I mean, I think it should be done, but I have not studied the medical aspects of the religion for me to feel comfortable to implement or apply that. So I basically go by what is the most current science says about healing. So that's the emphasis of my practice. I have not studied, because it involves herbs and stuff like that, and I have not studied herbs enough for me to make any kind of recommendation. But there was one thing, which a very interesting thing I came across. You see, many times we see people calling us on and talking about their health problem. Then we talk them, pray to Allah Ta'ala, for your recovery and stuff like that, which I always felt that it was not the complete answer until I came across one important aspects of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life. One time, what happened was that he was bitten by a scorpion, you see. So what he did was he asked for salt and water, and he was applying salt and water to the site of scorpion bite, and at the same time he was reading Qul A'udhu bin Nas and Qul A'udhu Falaq, Qul A'udhu Falaq, Qul A'udhu Nas repeatedly until the things improve. So it brings that, yes, praying to Allah Ta'ala is important, but Allah Ta'ala has also given us the human knowledge, the knowledge to be able to take care of our bodies than just strictly praying for it. It raises a very interesting question. Why do people become sick? Is it because Allah Ta'ala wants to punish us and makes us sick, or what's the reason behind it? Well, the way I've come across is the reason that it is Allah Ta'ala is trying to teach you that you're doing something wrong. Okay, if Allah Ta'ala's purpose was to punish you, He would never have given you the knowledge to help you. You see. So when Allah Ta'ala has given you the knowledge to help you, you should use that knowledge along with whatever Islamic teachings are.
Okay, now what I was particularly interested in, I'm going to direct this to Dr. Adil.
Yeah.
If Dr.
Sure.
Adil, if we want to talk about the Quran. Now, as we heard Dr. Sultan mention to us about reading Surah Falaq and Surah An-Nas, the last two surahs of the Quran. Would you recommend that for somebody's a beginner in Islam? They're just now learning some surahs,
Sure. It's a multiple things, together. You do it simultaneously at the same time. You do it, of course, with the science and spiritual avenues all together, work simultaneously to get back the person into cure and recovery. So in the Quran, there's honey. That's a well-known Surah An-Nahl. That is, وَفِيهِ شِفَاءٌ لِلنَّاسِ. Allah said that right there. In the Quran in general, there is shifa. There's a cure for everything in the hearts. That's everything you read in the Quran. But they specifically mentioned in Surah An-Nahl, honey, and in the gender, كَانَ مِزَاجُهُ زَنْجَبِيلًا. Zanjabil in Arabic means ginger. So two things mentioned in the Quran that have
to go slow for our viewers who are not Muslim, I would like to mention Zanjabil. You mentioned Zanjabil, and you said the translation might be to the word ginger. So common ginger would be a benefit. Is that true?
Absolutely. It would help the immune system.
And common honey, just plain old cloverleaf honey or something like that?
The pure honey, not the one that's adulterated with too much sugar, the one that's natural, that come out from the bees and extracted naturally, that with a very immense immune system importance. Matter of fact, in England, the guidelines for if somebody have cough, you don't take antibiotic or you go to the doctor. You should go to start with honey at home. Anyone. So this is and it's coming across the globe for people to learn about these things. The black seed is making a huge impact on so many people's lives in terms of improving their immune system, and of course because it has scientific-based evidence that has more than 100 active substances that modulate the immune system and strengthen it. So this is all, of course, the faith, but also backed with science. And you put it all together to the benefit of all mankind.
Okay, but now let's go back to the Quran, and we were talking about the last two surahs. This is brought up by Dr. Sultan, and these last two surahs of the Quran. Is it known that these can actually help somebody's health or cure them? Have you heard about this?
Wallahu alam, as far as I know, it helps more. In this particular situation, I read it, and in other situations when there's more or less mental and anxiety disease, reading the Quran, and those two.
Okay, well let's go back now to Dr. Sultan. I would like to find out, Dr. Sultan, are you experiencing with your patients that there is some kind of emotional stress and disorder that's going on, and if so, would this be of value to them? Would that help them?
Well, yes, there is a lot of emotional element that's associated with this, not only COVID infection by itself, but just because the COVID environment that we are in, masking, social distancing, not meeting anybody. Now, you see, I give you a live example. My wife's mother is 95 years old, and obviously she's quite old, and it's been almost a year that she has not met her, you see, and now she's very anxious to go and meet her mother because how long someone is gonna live, and her sisters are against her coming because they want to protect the mother and doesn't want her to go over there. So it is an anguish at all levels of economic stature, but more so for poor people, single people, who at least in the past has some sort of interaction with people. Now they have absolutely no interaction. I see.
I think most of our audience probably knows their own particular stress levels and their own particular environment for this distress and for the mental anguish that I think many of us are going through that right now. So what I'd like to focus on is what would be the cure, because we pretty much got an idea there's an ailment here, but what do you think that the Quran could bring from those two surahs that you mentioned? What about the, as Dr. Adil mentioned, something about helping with this, the spiritual side of somebody, or he mentioned the mental disposition. So what would you...
Very good question. These are the two surahs that Allah Ta'ala bestowed to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and has not been given to any of the prophets. And this is to protect you from all evils and all bad things, whether they belong to the human being or belong to jinns, whatever they belong to, and all. So you're asking for Allah Ta'ala's help. That's number one. And number two, then you're doing what you think is medically right to be able to do things. Let me give you because it creates a positive attitude. Now let's take an example of our boxer Muhammad Ali. And you take another person off the street. You see, can he really fight with Muhammad Ali? He's going to shred into pieces. But if the guy has a positive attitude, what he would do is he'll be able to fight better. He may lose. That's a different ballgame. But he will be able to fight better. Okay.
Yeah, I think we got a phone call here. Let's take the phone call and see. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. Alaikum salam.
How have you been, my beloved Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, we are just fine. We're having a good time here. How about you? You're in Bangladesh, right?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
I hope you are doing very fine. May Allah, now I want to start by saying may Allah grant to Jannatul Firdaus, because you have been doing, good deeds for the Muslim Ummah. You have been, doing us a great favor. May Allah grant you Jannatul Firdaus.
All of us, MashaAllah.
May I, my beloved Sheikh, may I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yesterday, when I was studying, I happened to see a mosquito, biting me, and I killed it immediately. And all of a sudden, it crossed my mind: did I commit a sin by killing the mosquito? This is my question.
Well, now that is a good question.
Is it allowed to kill mosquitoes which I don't know about?
Well, let's. Do one of the doctors want to try to answer this question?
Yes, obviously, it's going to cause you harm. Assalamu alaikum, brother. It's going to cause you harm, so it's absolutely okay to do that.
How are you doing?
I didn't understand the question. What was the question?
He said there was a mosquito, I think, crawling, and he killed it. So is it or not? So.
I don't know about that, but I tell you what, what I do know about is that our prophet, he did allow for us to any kind of like for instance, that I think the mention in the hadith was that the thing has got that stinger on the back of it. What's that called?
Wasp?
No, it creeps on.
Web?
What's it called?
Hornet? Yellow jacket?
No, that doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. It's a what? Huh?
Scorpion?
Ant?
No, scorpion. You got it. There we go. Scorpion. Yeah. So in that hadith, it's mentioning about the scorpion that, and also it mentions some of the other critters that could hurt you, could do damage to you, like a snake and like several. So anything that can do damage from the insect world, or birds or fish or any of those that could do damage, and they're very much a potential. In other words, not going out and killing them for sport, but it's a potential because it's in your house, it's in your car, something like this. Then if you could release it and get it out of your car or out of your house, that'd be better. But if you have to kill it, that is not a sin on you at all. Inshallah, God willing. All right?
Yeah,
I want to make a comment on this. You see,
Dr. Sultan wants to make a comment about it. Let's listen.
See, this concept is coming from Jain religion, in which they say that living things should not be killed. You see, so it is against their religion to kill the living things. But one thing, when you inhale, how many bacteria you're inhaling in your body, and they're getting killed. You see, so that part of the logic is not a real solid logic that you should not kill any living being. Yes, harmful things should be killed. So I was thinking that he might be getting that concept from his friends who talk about that living things should not be killed, no matter what living thing it is.
So you're saying that like the virus, for instance, is a bacteria. Yeah. It's a living virus. Is that right?
Well, kind of. Viruses find refuge inside the cells, and then they grow, but themselves.
So it's alive. It has a life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you took the attitude that you're not going to kill anything at all, then that means you can't fight against the disease, right?
Exactly. And then in that, if you bring the logic that, plants have lives also, so they will come and say, well, plants don't have the feelings, they can't feel the pain. But now...
Oh, what's the proof of that?
But now the scientists are proving that plants have feelings too. They're living things, and when you eat them, you're killing the living stuff. So that does not fly very much in wake of common sense and common knowledge.
So that doesn't fly with mosquitoes, right?
Yeah.
You just push the harm away. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any other question, brother?
I would like you to talk about prophets, which I would love to hear from you.
Well, there are many prophets. Of course, as you know, that there are more than 124,000 prophets that have been sent to the mankind over the centuries. We know of about 26 or 28 of them. And this really is a subject that is so wide, and you can find many things in fact, I think almost every situation that we could encounter in our lives, we could find some stories from some of the prophets, at least one of them, to rectify our problem and bring about a better situation for all of us, or at least explain to us why we were in those situations and what the benefit of even the worst of situations could be for the true believer. So that's a general statement, of course, and we are coming up on a break that I got to take right now. So if you stay with me, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back right after this. I want to tell everybody how you can support this channel, how you can help us help others. And here's what you can do, guys. Just stay tuned and listen carefully, and then we'll be right back right after this. So stay tuned and stay guided. We'll guide us. You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it, from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah?
Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call
calling Allah.
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out. Ilaha. Illa. Allah.
And I bear witness. That Muhammad.
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that inshallah ta'ala will all be able to benefit from.
Guide Us TV is free. No ads, no spam, no big business, just free.
Log in now and make your contribution today to support your favorite project at donatetoislam.com.
And we are back. So now you understand how you, and you're very important to us, can do three things. Three things that we're asking from you. First and foremost is your dua. By making dua for us and asking Allah, sincerely asking Allah, praying for us and asking Allah that He will accept the work that we're doing and make it easy for us to continue it, then that is the number one key thing. The second thing is to share the message of Guide Us TV. Get it out there. Let people see what we're doing. And from whatever aspect that you're coming to or from, be sure to share in emails, phone calls, letters, whatever you can do. Just put guideus.tv at the bottom of it and say, check this out. You know, it's simple. Guideus.tv. Tell people how simple it is. And then the third thing is donate. But I don't want you to donate a large money, like a large amount all at one time. I really don't. I would much rather see you and me get the rewards for just doing something every month. If you're somebody who could donate $10,000 to keep us on the air, that would be great, but I would suggest that you rethink it and just, maybe do $500 a month. And if you said, whoa, that's so small compared to what I wanted to do. If you have something that you would like to do to get it all out, all over the place, a large amount, suppose it's zakat, then there's a different one that we use called DonateIslam.com. DonateIslam.com. This covers so many of our projects and so many of those who we partner up with for orphans, for the needy, for the shelters, for the free Quran projects, and all of the rest of it. So DonateIslam.com, and that's a general fund, and you can do a large amount there. But to keep this channel rolling and going and growing, we recommend just really the simple thing, do whatever you do monthly. Even if it's only $30 a month, but do something. That's only $1 a day. Alhamdulillah. All right, so now let's come back to Dr. Sultan. We've been really putting some pressure on him to talk about that. We've been talking about this virus thing. Dr. Sultan, talk about it a little bit more for us, please.
Okay, so what we were talking about while the call came was the role of last two surahs of Quran in healing. So we're talking about the healing.
Okay, that would be, I want to put it up on the screen, so I do have it ready for us. So you're saying Surah Al-Falaq, right?
Yeah.
And Surah An-Nas, is that right? Okay, right. Which one of the two do you want to have me play first?
Surah Al-Falaq, just in order.
All right, well, let's do that. Let's listen to Surah Falaq.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق.
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak.
من شر ما خلق.
from the evil of that which He created,
ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب
and from the evil of darkness when it settles,
ومن شر النفاثات في العقد
and from the evil of the blowers in knots,
ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد
and from the evil of an envier when he envies.
All right.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind,
ملك الناس
the sovereign of mankind,
إله الناس
the God of mankind,
من شر الوسواس الخناس
from the evil of the retreating whisperer,
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس
who whispers evil into the breasts of mankind,
من الجنة والناس
MashaAllah.
from among the jinn and mankind.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Okay, Doctor, what now? Tell us how these two surahs can help us.
Before Allah Ta'ala revealed these two surahs, Prophet ﷺ used to have various kind of prayers to protect him from all the evils around. And when these came, then he abandoned those kalamats and just focused on these last two. So what I was talking about for the people who are really materialistic, we as Muslims believe that everything comes from Allah Ta'ala, and nothing can happen without Allah's will. And whatever good comes from Allah Ta'ala, and whatever bad things happen, it is because of our own action that we did something wrong that got in trouble. Otherwise, Allah Ta'ala loves people more than the love of 70 mothers, as much He loves all of us. And whenever He gives us trouble, it gives us for a warning sign. So what I was talking about was looking from the materialistic point of view. I was giving an example that is a big boxer and a small guy. If they fight, of course the big boxer is going to defeat the poor guy. But if the poor guy has a confidence, has a belief that he can fight this guy, then he will fight better. Although he's going to lose the game, but he will fight better. So same thing applies in here. When we are doing materialistic thing from the medical point of view, someone is sick, but at the same time we have full confidence in Allah Ta'ala, we will be able to fight the disease process better than without a faith, you see.
Now that makes a lot of sense, Doctor. And we do appreciate what you've taken your time to be with us and to help us to understand how we can use the things from Islam as well as use the things from science to help protect us and cure us from some of these things that we're experiencing. Thank you again. I would like to now go to Dr. Adil, because we've been talking between us about something called bridge building. And this is a relationship, and I'll let him tell you all about this relationship of bridge building. Go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Well, this concept is about really effort to build peace and harmony locally and globally. And really it has to do with the two remedies and two prescriptions, which is kindness and education. And one of the things about this the particular book, A Decade of Bridge Building, this very important event that will do kindness reverse fear psychology. And this happened during Ramadan almost 12 years ago. And, there was in sponsoring basically iftar or dinner, just like for Muslims who fast and want to have a fast breaking meal at sunset. There was a bunch of, our fellow citizens who are less fortunate, and they happen to go through this all year round, mostly homeless. And they had a beautiful meal where they was all healthy, included chicken, rice, and salad, and everyone had dates and bottled water, and to symbolize peace. And it really have all the people there coming and having the joy of breaking, having something to eat, something nice and healthy and fresh, and they loved it. And with that, it breaks all the fear psychology. And another important thing is really to have a dialogue, with the community. And this particular one happened to be with emphasis on the concept of our common father Abraham and how it relates to the three main religions. And this event was taken in a big church hall, and presenting Islam, where there was everybody had a pretty much a just kind of oral presentation, but to give, but out of handwritten notes and things like that. But we came that day with a very PowerPoint and high tech, if you would, presentation that impressed everybody about. For instance, when they have a visual image of what Abraham station, for instance, Maqam Ibrahim next to the Kaaba, and how the kind of back and forth effort that we do inside, and to simulate the effort that Hajar have done, the wife of Prophet ﷺ, mother of Ishmael, who all the descendants came from Rasulullah ﷺ and came the nation of Islam. And had a demonstration of the tree where all the trace down, all, of course, Adam, and then all the way to Abraham, and then after that, the three main religions have kind of came through the common father. There was a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of misinformation that has all been clarified, and simply, people were left with more understanding to come together, because Prophet Ibrahim, who was Sammakum Muslim in Surah Ibrahim, he's the one who called us Muslims in full submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, the fact that life of Abraham and all the tests that he has been through since he was a child, thrown into fire, and then adulthood with his dad, that he didn't, he was searching for faith, he was searching for Allah, and then found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then tested again when he was very old and had his son Ishmael, and then was tested to sacrifice his son. So everybody was inspired by the fact that they learned, if you would, from the Muslim version about the common father Abraham. And the more the education is done and more kindness is done, I think between those two, the ultimate resolution will be, spreading peace and fighting Islamophobia and misconception and building trust and understanding. And that's really the main goal of what we're trying to accomplish here.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yeah, that was I think a very good update on the bridge building going on there in your area. That's in Tampa, Florida, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, and I think that you also had something prepared for us to talk about water. Water in the Quran. Is that true?
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran,
let me get it back over on you. Hold on. I'm not much of a technician. Hold on a second. There.
No problem. No problem. I'm just giving a little bit of introduction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created every living creature out of water. So the whole human body is 75 to 80% water. And so water is essential for life. And subhanAllah, this was a few years back, but I wanted to share with the audience about how beautiful the Quran has mentioned 23 types of water. For each one, it has specific character. So just first, the ma' al-maghid, وَغِيدَ الْمَاء وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ. This is in Surah Hud, verses 44. So this is specifically have to do with the water that goes down to the earth, and it goes deep down to the deep layers under what we've seen is not like a pond, or it just goes and it kind of gravitates into the deeper layers of earth. So this is the description in Surah Hud. Number 2, the waters and ma' as-sadid, the water that actually is being drank by the people of hellfire. So it's called pussy water. It's all ma'un sadid in Surah Ibrahim, verses 16. وَمِنْ وَرَائِهِ جَهَنَّمْ وَيُسْقَى مِنْ مَاءٍ صَدِيدٍ. This is how frightening and how scary it is to be drinking that kind of water. Number 3, al-ma' al-muhl. Al-ma' al-muhl, this is again in Surah Al-Kahf. وَإِنْ يَسْتَغِيثُوا يُغَاثُوا بِمَاءٍ كَالْمُهْلِ يَشْوِي الْوُجُوهِ. If they were desperate for water, they said, please, I want water. So what kind of water they have? This is, again, description of people of hellfire. They will come as boiling water that will actually almost yashwi wujuh, almost make the faces go into like a barbecue kind of thing because of the extreme heat of that water. Ma' al-ard, number 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the creation of earth, and this water was still in a constant existence to the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse 18, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ مَاءً بِقَدْرٍ فَأَسْكَنَّاهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bring in water from heaven, and biqadr, with only allowed amount that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained. فَأَسْكَنَّاهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. So this water is sitting in the earth, and is just living in the earth. Obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put that there's a certain amount of water. So people, sometimes scared of drought or dying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made that water. And of course, He knows, all His creatures and their need for water. So, inshallah, this is a very assuring ayah for everyone. Number 5, al-ma'u tahur, the pure, clean water. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes in Surah Al-Furqan, verses 48, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. And we have descended and landed from the earth, ma'an tahura, pure, clean water. And number 6, ma' al-shurb, the drinking water. And this is in Surah Al-Nahl, verses 10, هُوَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً لَكُمْ مِنْهُ شَرَابٌ. So Allah has sent down from the heaven and the sky a water that we can drink from it. This is in Surah Al-Nahl. Number 7, al-ma'ul ujaj. This is the very salty water that you can hardly drink, and it's very, very distasteful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make a comparison in Surah Fatir, verses 12. هَذَا عَذْبٌ فُرَاتٌ سَائِغٌ شَرَابٌ. This is a very soft, sweet water that you drink and enjoy. وَهَذَا مِلْحٌ أُجَاجٌ. The sea water on the other side, this is obviously a very salty water that you cannot drink.
Doctor, can I interrupt you just for 1 minute, please?
Sure.
Because here the sun is just now setting, and they just brought me some water to drink to break my fast. So I would just like to tell people that water is also good for breaking your fast.
Water and a date, that's the sun. That's subhanAllah. That's a beautiful feeling. This moment of breaking the fast and having water. Can you believe the thirst and the sensation? And actually, sometimes water is more important than food. You need the water more,
Yeah, that's very true. Very true, doctor. Go ahead.
May Allah accept. Okay. Number 8, al-ma' al-mahin. Al-ma' al-mahin, this is the water that we are all human beings are created of, which is basically semen that comes in from the man. ثُمَّ جَعَلَ نَسْلَهُ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ مَاءٍ مَهِينٍ. This is ma'in mahin. This is just a very, weak water. How come in every 1 cc there's almost between 100 to 300 million sperms in 1 cc that you look under the microscope, and only one will go through and make, fertilization into the egg and make with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn it into a human being. 9, al-ma'u ghayr al-asin. So there is water that is a running water that is free of any contaminants. And this is a very exclusive description for the rivers of paradise. In Surah Muhammad, verse 15, فِيهَا أَنْهَارٌ مِّن مَاءٍ غَيْرِ آسٍ. This is a running water that is so beautiful, and it is free of any bacteria or any pathogen or any harmful organisms. Al-ma' al-hamim, number 10. And ma' al-hamim means hot water. That's very boiling water. And in Surah Muhammad, again, in verse 15, Allah describes the water that for the people of hellfire. وَسُقُوا مَاءً حَمِيمًا فَقَطَّعَ أَمْعَاءَهُم. And they will be given very hot water that they will split their intestine apart, because that is the description, again, of that water for the people of hellfire. Number 11, al-ma' al-mubarak, the blessed water that actually gives life to the trees, to the plants, and give khayr everywhere. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Qaf, verses 9, وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً مُبَارَكًا فَأَنْبَتْنَا بِهِ جَنَّاتٍ وَحَبِّ الْحَصِيدِ. This is the useful, blessed water that comes from heaven, and it gives life to the trees, and Allah gives us with it Jannat, all this beautiful scenery of greenery and of course crops that we consume to sustain life. Number 12, al-ma'ul munhamir. This is a very gushing water. You see when sometimes in hurricanes and so there's a lot of water, but the water comes in a very destructive way, in a huge speed, and this actually destructive to all the plants and animals and life. And again, in Surah Al-Qamar, Allah describes that. فَفَتَحْنَا أَبْوَابَ السَّمَاءِ بِمَاءٍ مُنْهَمِرٍ. We have opened the doors and the gates of heaven with a very gushing water. Number 13, al-ma' al-maskoob. Al-ma' al-maskoob, that this is a very relaxing sensation when you have this water that being poured into you, like right now for Sheikh, right in the past, you have the water being poured to you into the cup and drink it and make it naked. So in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, وَظِلٍّ مَمْدُودٍ, an extended shade. This is a description of paradise. وَمَاءٍ مَسْكُوبٍ, and you have water being poured into your cups while you're saying مَاءٍ مَسْكُوبٍ. You don't have to get up. It's going to come poured right into you, served right in your place. Number 14, al-ma'ul ghawr. Al-ma'ul ghawr, the water that gets into the earth, and there is no benefit from it. And again, in Surah Al-Kahf, يُصْبِحُ مَاؤُهَا غَوْرًا فَلَنْ تَسْتَطِيعَ لَهُ طَلَبًا. This is like a water that in verses 41 in Surah Al-Kahf, the water that just sips through, and there is no benefit of it at all. Number 15, al-ma'ul ma'in. Al-ma'ul ma'in, the water that goes and gets benefit from. And again, in Surah Al-Mulk, number 30, فَمَنْ يَأْتِكُمْ بِمَاءٍ مَعِينٍ. Who else other than Allah that will give you the water that benefits, sustains life, and give the plants life, and then gives us from that food and sustenance. Number 16, al-ma'ul ghadaq. Al-ma'ul ghadaq. This is the deal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a deal in Surah Al-Jinn with 16 with us. وَأَلَوْ اسْتَقَامُوا عَلَى الطَّرِيقَةِ لَأَسْقَيْنَاهُمْ مَاءً غَدَقًا. If they kept on the straight path, Allah would give them ma'an ghadaqa, plenty of water, nobody will be thirsty. Nobody will go into drought and die because of lack of water. This is only as a reward of being on the straight path. Number 17, al-ma'ul furat. And in Iraq, the river of paradise, like the Nile and Nahr al-Furat, Euphrates, al-ma'ul furat. This is like the Quran, Nahr al-Furat, Furat River. So in Surah Al-Mursalat, verse 27, وَأَسْقَيْنَاكُمْ مَاءً فُرَاتًا. That is so sweet. The water is so unbelievably sweet and so nice to have and to drink. Number 18, al-ma' al-thujaj. So this is the water of floods, big floods. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Naba, verses 14, says, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُعْصَرَاتِ مَاءً ثَجَّاجًا. This is the water that comes and obviously destroys. So it's comes from the heavy clouds that goes in and have this water that destroys. Number 19, al-ma'u dafiq. This is again a different description of the water that comes in from the man, that comes in on pulses, and that's the semen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the creation of man. خُلِقَ مِن مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ. The human being was created from this pulsating water that comes in, with semen in Surah Al-Tariq, verses 16. Ma' Madian, number 20. Subhanallah, in Madian, this is a specific place in Madian, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Qasas, when describing the story of Moses, that the وَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ Madian, there is the water there that Prophet Moses came and helped the two ladies to have their water because their dad was an old sick man, and he ended up marrying one of them. Number 21st, al-ma' al-sarab. So this is being out in the desert, and then there's a phenomenon. You think there's water back there, especially in the desert, but it's only an illusion. It's a visual illusion. And again, Allah described for the kafirin in Surah An-Nur, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالَهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ. Those who disbelieve in Allah, their actions and their deeds is just like the illusion. بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ ظَمْآنُ مَاءً. Every thirsty man in the desert thinks that there's water, but it's only an illusion. It's a visual illusion from the sun rays that comes in contact with the sand. Number 22, the river of the water of rivers and springs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Surah Al-Zumar, verses 21, أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَسَلَكَهُ يَنَابِيعَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Don't you think that Allah have descended water and this yanabi'a, and then it goes into different pathways and rivers as well as different springs? And then finally, al-ma'u salsabil, versus, this is the 23rd type of water. And this is such an awesome water, and it's so easy to, run in, flowing, and it's so sweet, and it's originated from Jannah. And in a special spring called Salsabil. Salsabil, this is because of this water is so unbelievably characteristic and so sweet. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it. عَيْنًا فِيهَا تُسَمَّى سَلْسَبِيلًا. In paradise, there is a spring that's called Salsabil. May Allah, grant us all to be drinking water from the Salsabil.
Ameen, ameen, ameen. MashaAllah. And guess what? We just ran out of time. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I was trying to find the right pictures, but in the English language, you always describe everything, blah, 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 astonishing, amazing, and stuff, but you don't mention the kind until the very end of the sentence. That's English. And so I would sit there and wait, and by the time you would say the word, then I would go look for the image. So I wish we would do it in Arabic, because you get the water first, and then you get the description. I love Arabic. I love it.
It's language of paradise, inshallah.
Well, first of all, Dr. Adil, thank you so much for taking your time to explain all these things to us. And also, Dr. Sultan was with us, and I don't see him on here right now. Let me see. Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, he's there. MashaAllah. Thank you so much, doctors, both of you. And tell everybody to stay guided with
Guidance TV.
Yeah, man. That's the way. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. The judging is over, but the contest continues. Now you can get extra prizes, extra gifts, and extra rewards from Allah. Yeah. The new contest is just read the translation. That's right. Just open up this translation we already sent to you, find the same verses you already recited, and then read it in English. Record it, upload it to your account on Recite Groups. More prizes, more rewards with Allah. What could be better?